Hello, students. Hello, everyone. Nice to be back. It's been 2 weeks since my last class. How are you doing? I hope you're enjoying your holidays. I don't know about you, but I surely miss the class. Okay, I don't know whether you missed the class or not, but I surely miss explaining things to you, and I'm glad to be back. Last week I took 1 week break. Okay, so I hope you're all ready for today's class. I would appreciate if you could give me feedback on whoever who's here, okay, just to let me know that you know who's here to join my class. Okay, it's all right, I don't see anyone writing comments here yet. Okay, but anyway, it's starting to rain here. I hope the internet holds up, and I can hopefully the internet the connection is fine, and then we can have the class okay, or smoothly running. Okay, Joanne Moore. Okay, thanks for your feedback. Hello, how are you? Hello, everyone. Okay, let's start today's class. Okay, today's class is a bit light. It's not as heavy as the previous lessons, like the menstrual cycle or the gametogenesis, but still you need to know the facts. Okay, Jen Xuan, good afternoon. Yes, good afternoon. All right, okay, let's start. I will share screen now. I hope you can see this. Just hang on. Yeah, all right, I'm looking at it now. All right, can you see that? Okay, just get me feedback. So today we are still at chapter 15. We are coming to the end of chapter 15, but we have one more subtopic next week to handle. Okay, so after this chapter 15, please do let me know what chapters you would like me to revise. Okay, your Form 5 exam is coming soon. All right, you're coming back to school next week. All right, you have an extra week of holidays. Okay, so you have to keep your lessons going lah. All right, so do your questions, and please remember your facts. Okay, so let me see any comments here so far. Okay, Jen Chuan, you can see me or can hear me. All right, very good. Thank you very much for your feedback. Okay, so today we're going to do 15.5, formation of twins, and also health issues related to human reproductive system. That means you are only left with 15.7 for next week. Okay, just one subtopic, and then we're done with chapter 15. Just let me know, all right, maybe through Telegram or through the comments here later on the video, whatever topics you want me to to revise, and I will choose the one which have the highest number of requests. Okay, right. Let's go on. Now, formation of twins. Look at these two cute little babies here. All right. Okay. Very, very cute. Very cuddly. Okay. So obviously they are twins. Okay. How you know they are twins? The most characteristic, the easiest way for you to see twins is actually they look alike. But not all twins look alike. All right. You always think the twins look alike. But there are some which do not look exactly the same. They don't. Okay. So you have two types of twins actually. Okay. All right. Okay. I see someone with some Russian characters which I can't read. All right. I don't know who you are, but anyway, thanks for joining my class. Okay. Here, process of twin formation. Right now, twins refer to two children that are born from one pregnancy. That means in the same pregnancy, instead of having one baby, you have two babies. All right. That's the meaning of twin formation. Okay. The rain is pouring here. But actually, there are two types of twins. Like I mentioned, there are some twins that do not look exactly the same. They do not look exactly like each other. So there are actually two types of twins. One is called identical twin. The other one is fraternal twin. Okay, so use the correct term. I know some of you say, can I use non-identical twin for the other type? So I would suggest you always use the term that is in your textbook. Okay, so do not try to use any other terms which are not in your textbook. So always take your textbook as your guideline for the terms, because whatever it is, when they mark your SPM paper, they will always use your textbook as the definitive facts. Okay, that means they will refer the facts from there. Okay, so do not use non-identical, rather use fraternal. All right, now let's look at the differences. Now you can look at these two pretty girls, right? Do they look alike? Okay, do they look the same? Do they have the same features? Do they look alike? Now, if the answer is yes, again, they look very clearly, they look alike, right? They look the same, right? They are known as, very easily, they are known as identical twins. Okay, I'm sure you have come across many people, you've seen many identical twins before. And sometimes you have trouble identifying one from the other. You do not know which is the sister when you do not know which is the younger one. Okay, so what is the characteristic of identical twins? They are always of the same gender. That means they are always girl and girl or boy and boy. Okay, they can never be one girl and one boy as identical twins. So if there's one girl and one boy, that means different gender, they are not called identical twins. They must be the other type. They are called the fraternal twins. So remember this, identical twins, they must always be of the same gender. And another characteristic is they always have the same genetic composition. That means whatever gene this A has, the B will have the exact same copy. So that also means that whatever illness or genetic disease A has or born with, the B will have the same thing because they actually come from the same sperm and the same ovum. Okay, so whatever the genetic composition that they have, they will actually have the same copy. Okay, because they after the zygote formation, they actually form into two embryos. After I show you the picture. And they have the same physical characteristics. You look at the color of the hair, okay? They are brown, okay? Brown hair. The eyes look like hazel. Okay, this is hazel eyes. And the skin color, even freckles and all that. Okay, even the ability to roll the tongue, the type of earlobe, everything will be the same. What could be different is their personality, slightly perhaps. It's maybe through the friends that they make. Okay, so A has a different set of friends than B, perhaps. Maybe through, we call it nurture, nature, not nurture, yeah, through nurture, that sometimes they will have slight difference in character because of friends that they have or the type of education that they receive. Okay, now let's see how are they formed. How do you get identical twins? Okay, so very simply, actually, the basic concept for you to remember is there's always one sperm which fertilizes one ovum. So they come from actually one sperm that successfully fertilizes one ovum. That's it. Okay, not more than one sperm, not more than one ovum. So one sperm, one ovum, that means you will get one zygote. Okay, after fertilization, there is only, it began with one zygote. And this one zygote underwent mitosis repeatedly. Okay, mitosis. And after that, you will have two. It split. It just split into two embryos. So the embryo divides into two. So you will find two embryos here. And subsequently, later on, these two embryos will form two fetuses. Okay, and you have two fetus living together in the same womb. Then they may share placenta. So they are two fetus here, but they share the same placenta. That means they will implant at the same place. Then you have one placenta. So usually identical twins will have one placenta. There are certain cases also identical twins have separate placenta. This is because they separated later. They may implant differently at different places in the uterus. They may have two placenta. But as always, we follow the textbook. For identical twins here, we just say one placenta, okay, shared by two fetus. All right, okay, so this is identical twins. Now let's look at the other type of twin. Okay, now look at this. Okay, very handsome boys here, right? You notice that they do not look exactly the same, right? Let me just zoom in. You can see the features here, right? The features are not exactly the same. All right, they may have the same color of hair, but I wouldn't call this as, really identical in features. And let's look at another example. You can see these sisters. All right, one has blonde hair, one has got brown hair, brunette, and you will see that they look similar. They look similar, but they are not exactly the same. Okay, the different hair will tell you they do not have the same genetic composition. And here you have a boy and a girl. This is a boy, there's another girl, right? They have to be, they are of the same age. They are born together, but they don't have the same sex. They don't not of the same gender. So they are known as fraternal twins. Fraternal twins is very easy to identify them. They do not look exactly the same. So that means their genetic composition is not exactly the same as the sister or the brother. Okay, so it can be the same sex, it can be same gender, it can be boy boy or girl girl, or it can also be a boy girl. Okay, so for fraternal twins, it can be boy boy, girl girl, or boy and girl. But for identical, it's always the same gender. So if you have a case whereby one boy and one girl, all right, it's definitely for sure it's fraternal already. Okay, in Cantonese we call this long feng toy. I'm sure you've heard before. One boy and one girl born together as a twin. So they, in Chinese, it's called very auspicious. The auspicious means it's very good luck. Okay, you get a boy and a girl at the same time, so it's called a long feng toy. Long feng is like long is dragon, feng is phoenix. It's like a phoenix and a dragon born together. You know, in Chinese mythology, yeah, dragon is like representing a boy, phoenix is like a girl. So long feng toy is a dragon and phoenix. Okay, it's a very auspicious, means very lucky for the family. Okay, now how are they born? How are they formed? Fraternal twins, you will see very clearly here that there are two ovum. That means for that month, when the mother is ovulating, she ovulated more than one ovum. So there will be two. Okay? It could be more lah, of course, right? But minimum two lah, minimum two ovum. And of course, there are millions of sperms that enters the fallopian tube. So definitely those two ovums will be fertilized by two separate sperms. So you have two sperms and two ovum. Okay, now always remember here, never one ovum, two sperms, or never uh, one sperm, two ovum. Okay, that can never happen. It's either one sperm, one ovum, or two sperms, two ovum. All right, okay, so you're going to have two separate embryos. Okay, and the genetic composition from the for the sperm will be different. You will see that maybe you see this one. Let me just draw this. Sorry, let me just draw this. This sperm may be carrying the X chromosome, and this other sperm may be carrying the Y chromosome. So therefore, you can have one girl and one boy born at the same time. Okay, one sperm carries X, the other sperm carries Y. Okay, so now you have two separate embryos, and for sure they will implant separately in the uterus. You will have two separate placentas. All right, okay, so here, all right, so this is fraternal twins. So now let's look at the differences between identical and fraternal twins. So let's take example question. Compare and contrast. That means state the similarities and the differences between identical and fraternal twins. Okay, so what are the similarities? You just have to think of it from on your own. Okay, similarity very simple. They are born of the same mother and they're born of the same father. Right? They have the same mother, they have the same father. That is a similarity. They are born together at the same time. Okay, they are carried in the same pregnancy. That is the similarity. So let's look at more of the differences. Okay, do not forget, do not forget to please write the similarities if the question asks for compare and contrast. There are many cases every year students always write the differences, but they forget to write the similarities. Whereas the similarities, they are points, they are marks given for similarities. You will lose the point if you do not write similarities. Okay, similarities that I mentioned just now, they have the same parent, they have the same father, same mother. They are born together. They share the same. They are what they call. They conceive together. They share the same uterus. All right, and they are born at the same time. Okay, so identical twins. First thing we look at is how many sperms and how many ovums are needed to form these identical twins. So it's always one ovum and one sperm, and you get one zygote. Okay, one ovum is fertilized by one sperm. There will be one zygote. All right, okay. So at the moment, still all right. I don't see any disturbance here or any comments here. All right, so let's go on for the fraternal. So always remember when you compare the other side, you talk about the same aspect. Do not talk about something else. So if here you talk about the number of ovum and the number of sperm, you must also talk about the number of ovum and number of sperm for making your fraternal twins. So here you say it's a product of fertilization of two sperms and two ova. Okay, the plural of ovum is actually ova. So that's why we call ova. It's not wrong to say ovum lah, all right? We are not very particular about your language. But to be technically correct, it's called two ova. And you will have two zygotes. Okay, two zygotes. So they are separate already. two zygotes that are separate. Okay, next we talk about embryo. Okay, how do we get to embryo? It is from one zygote, you get one embryo for identical twins, and that one embryo just decided to split into two. Okay, at one of the stages of the development of the embryo, it just split into two, so you have two different embryos. Okay, but the material come from one zygote. Okay, that's why they are same. For the fraternal, you have already two separate embryos because there were two separate fertilizations. Okay, now try not to write embryo does not divide. Now for these fraternal twins here, all right, I'm just giving you a technique of answering question. Usually we try not to write the opposite or the negative part of it. If you say here, embryo divides into two, try not to write embryo does not divide into two because it's just a total negative. It will not, if it doesn't divide into two, try to write in a different way because when we mark your, essay, usually when comparison, do not say like okay, A has this and B does not have this. So if B does not have this, what does it have? Say the other one. Okay, it's a bit risky for you to say A has X, B does not have X. Rather, you say B has Y. It's better. Okay, you understand what I mean? So try not to say this one positive statement and then you immediately change it with do not have, does not have, that kind of thing. It's a bit risky. You may not get marks depending on the scheme of the examiner. Okay, next, let's talk about placenta. How many placentas are there? Okay, so for identical twins, it's one placenta shared by two fetuses or fetus, while for the fraternal twins, you already have two separate placenta because there were two separate implantations of the two embryos. Okay. Lastly, what about the genetic makeup? Not lastly, second last. The genetic makeup means the genetic composition. Okay, what kind of genes is inside the organism? Okay, and the physical appearance is the phenotype lah. Right, you learned in chapter 11. So the genotype and the phenotype, they are similar. Okay, genotype means it's whatever genes that it carries. The phenotype is the physical characteristic. What is can be observable? What can be seen on the outside? That is the phenotype. They are similar. In fact, you can say identical. They are the same. Okay, what A has, B will have. If A is born with a medical problem, okay, the B will definitely have the same thing. Okay, so let's say if I'm a twin, if my sister develops some kind of illness, a hole in the heart, or develops some kind of illness, let's say, the first thing I worry is I'm definitely going to worry. When am I going to get it? Okay, it's definitely true because whatever she have, I will have. Whatever she has, I will have. Okay, next. Then for the fraternal twins, the genetic makeup and the physical appearances of these twins are different. They are just like you and your sister, your elder sister or your younger sister, just that they are born together at the same time. Or you and your brother, okay, your elder brother or your younger brother, they just happen to be born together with you at the same time, just like that, because you do not look exactly like your brother. Neither do you look exactly like your sister. Okay, it's just that you and your brother, instead of being older than you or younger than you, they're just born together same time with you. That's all. It's just like you and your brother or you and your sister. Okay, so that's what it means. And lastly, let's look at the last fact here, the gender. Okay, so you can compare in terms of the gender as well. The gender of both twins is always the same for identical twins, either boy or girl. But for fraternal, it can be same gender also can, boy or girl, or it can be one boy, one girl. Okay, it can be different. All right, okay, so these are the usual characteristics that we can compare for identical and fraternal twins. Okay, now we can look at a very special type of twins. All right, I'm sure you can guess what it is talking about. Okay, a very special one, but a very tragic one also, I would say. Very unlucky to have this kind of twins. They are called conjoined twins. Conjoined, as the word suggests, a joint. They are joined together. There's one part of the body that joins them together. Okay, and they are, I would say, unfortunate because if you are a conjoined twin, your movement is limited because you can't go anywhere on your own. You have to bring your sister along, or you can bring your twin along or your brother along. Okay, so it's called Siamese twin. More popular name is called Siamese twin. Later on, I tell you the history about Siamese twins. Okay, as usual, I like to always give you more facts. Okay, now what are conjoined twins? Conjoined twins occurs when the division of the embryo. It's not we said identical twins, right? Or whatever, when they will start to split. Remember, they have one sperm and one ovum. They come from there, and then you get fertilization. Then they will start to split to become two embryos. But somehow or other, during one stage of the splitting or the mitosis, there's some part of the cells which do not completely separate. That means at the cytokinesis, at the stage of the completion of mitosis, at the end there, some part of it, the cells are still stuck together. Okay, they do not have complete cytokinesis. So that's why you say the division of embryo is incomplete. So they will develop on their own, but still one part is still stuck together. So when they grow bigger and bigger, their body parts are formed, there will be one part that's still stuck together. Okay, so as a result, some of their physical parts, that means it can be organs, the chest, or abdomen, or the internal organs, even worse is your internal organs, they may be shared. So they are fused together. Fused means joined together. Okay, and it's usually, many of the cases, it's quite complicated to separate them. Okay, because if they share very vital organs, like let's say one heart, definitely one heart you cannot separate to two babies. Okay, if you want to separate, the other one has to die. Okay, or you have only one set or one liver. Okay, or you have only one stomach. That is very tragic. You cannot decide also to share, how to share this kind of vital organs. Vital means very important organs. Okay, their life will be difficult, right? They have to live their whole life stuck together. They're always together. They cannot be alone. They have limited movement because, sometimes depend on where they are stuck. They can be stuck at the hips. Then they will have to, waddle with their legs, and maybe just one pair of legs to hold two torsos. Okay, and then it's very tragic lah, right? Okay, so again, it's some sort of like a misfortune, right? Okay, most of them will have short lifespan, or they may even die before they are born. If this is called an abnormality. So sometimes they die, they do not even get born. Okay, which I find sometimes is a blessing also lah, right? If babies die before they are born, it is sometimes nature's way of saying that this is not a viable baby. Okay, it should not be born. If it's born, somehow they will suffer, they will have illness. So sometimes or other, don't have to be too sad. Okay, sometimes I had a miscarriage last time when I was of course, when I started having my family, I had 3 miscarriages actually. So the doctor told me, console me by saying, if you have a miscarriage, sometimes it's for the better. It is nature's way of telling you that baby is not strong enough to survive. Okay, so she was born or he was born, he would probably have some genetic disease, and the baby would have to live out the rest of his life carrying that genetic disease, and it'll be a very sad case. Okay, so don't have to be too sad. Sometimes a natural abortion is for the better. All right, okay, don't have to be too sad about it. It's just nature's way. All right, okay, now let's look at surgery. Yeah, so how to remedy this situation? You can have surgery. Okay, the doctor can suggest surgery, but not all cases. There are many cases you will still have conjoined twins until they're adult, because surgery was deemed difficult or impossible because they share very important organs, like I mentioned earlier. Okay, so the success of the surgery will depend on what kind of organs are shared and also where. Okay, maybe if you're just connected by tissues or skin, all right, definitely no problem. Skin can be cut off, all right, and then it can heal. The skin is one of those organs which actually mitosis carries on until the day until you're very old. You can have mitosis to repair tissues and scars. But there are certain things like bones, they do not grow back, all right, and also blood vessels and also muscles, they do not grow back. Okay, so let's look at the origin of Siamese twins. Why do we call it Siamese twins? Okay, I'm sure you must be wondering. The name Siamese twin actually originated from the very first pair of twins, which actually come from Siam. Siam is the old name for Thailand. As you know, Siamese twins. So it's Thailand actually. So this is the picture of the actual picture of this pair of twins. Their names are called Chang and Eng. These are the famous Siamese twins. So their name Siamese twin actually come from this one. This is the first known Siamese twin, right? It was back in 18 something. So that was 19th century, 18 something. It's a very long time ago. And they were very famous. You know why? Because they toured with the circus. They toured with this group, P.T. Barnum. I'm sure you have seen this movie called The Greatest Showman on Earth 2 years back. All right, it's a real story actually. They have this. It's a freak show, right? A lot of these oddities and a lot of these humans were very odd with the bearded lady, bearded lady and Siamese twins. One day they toured with the circus and they went all over America. So they were actually born in Thailand, but they were brought over to America at that time and they became an instant sensation. They were very famous. Okay, and where they share their organs. I want to tell you something very, very interesting about them. They died at the age of 60 something, 62, 63 years old. Yeah, they live a ripe old age. And they actually got married. They got married to sisters. The sisters' name are Sarah Bunker and Adelaide Bunker. They got married, okay, and they had children. There are quite a number of children, not 21 children. One of them fathered 11 children. The other fathered 10 children. Don't ask me how they had their children. I'm sure it's not a private. They were, because they're stuck together. So you can just imagine. So it's their moments of togetherness cannot be very private. All right, they have to share with the other pair, maybe. Okay, so you can just imagine. All right, so they have 21 children between the two of them, and look at where they shared. They shared the liver. Okay, one lobe of the liver was shed, and this is a cast die of them, all right, after they passed away, and they actually share this abdomen, one part of them. Okay, you see this area here, right? And interestingly enough, they died within a few hours of each other. Okay, they died. One of them died in their sleep. I think Chang died in the sleep. And then after that, Ing also was probably shocked or probably sad or whatever, or maybe possibly the blood, because they share liver. The liver, you have a lot of blood. Perhaps the heart stopped for Chang, so the blood did not get to circulate. So it also affected the other twin. So the other twin died just a matter about 2 hours, 2 or 3 hours after the twin died. So they died together, all right? And they died they died in the sleep lah. I mean the Chang died in the sleep. Okay, all right. So that's the history about Siamese twins. All right, so they are famous. So subsequently now, all these conjoined twins, we have a nickname. We call them Siamese twins. Okay, based on these two very famous Siamese twins in the 19th century. All right, okay. All right, let's carry on. All right. Now, these are more cases of Siamese twins. You can see now this is, movement is quite limited. You can see the way how is their legs going to move. So they share the hips. Okay, so this part was blurred out because it's the genitals. So they share the hips. So you can see it's quite tragic that you have to, how are they going to live their life? They can't even move around. Okay, so you have also other cases. Now they share the head, the part of the cranium or the skull. All right, and the brain possibly. They share the brain. So now this one they share 2 heads, 1 torso. They share the torso, maybe 2. The chest will be 2, but only 1 abdomen. Okay, so this one probably cannot be separated lah. Okay, because they will share the intestines, the stomach, and everything. It's not enough to have 2 sets of organs for 2 babies. Okay, look at this one. I see this is the diagram showing heart. All right, you have 2 hearts, I think. And let me just zoom in and see. Maybe you can zoom in. You maybe can see better. Hearts. They have 2 hearts. All right, good thing. But they share the liver. All right, so the babies are possibly quite difficult to be separated. And there are some who cannot be separated. They have to live out their life. You can see that they share a same pair of pants. Probably the abdomen downwards is the same with 1 set of legs, but 2 torsos. You can see the sisters. Okay, but despite all these difficulties, some of them they live a happy life. Okay, just to be contented lah. Okay, don't have to be too sad about it. You're given a life, so just live it out. Okay, and here you can see 1 body but 2 heads. So it's a bit scary sometimes to know that you have 2 heads to a body. Okay, so so you sometimes you think that your life is tragic, but look on the bright side. There are even people who are even worse than you, and they even live their life out. Okay, so who are you to say that, oh, my life is so terrible? Look at other people's problems. People have even worse problems than you, and you should be there's a lot of things for you to be thankful for. Okay, let's get back to the lesson. We're done with 15.5. That is the formation of twins. Okay, so you need to know the facts. You need to remember the facts and how to write and in case the question comes up. So now let's talk about the health issues related to human reproductive system in terms of infertility or the inability to have children. So now in the new syllabus, we use this word impotency. Impotency, it has the same meaning as infertility or sterility. Okay, last time in the KBSM syllabus, we used the word sterility. That means inability to have children, inability to produce viable sperms or maybe ovum, so they cannot have the next generation. Okay, but they actually now impotency. You just follow the textbook term; it has the same meaning. But actually, I've Googled infertility and sterility. There's a slight difference in meaning. But for our level, it's no need for you to know. Okay, it's not necessary for you to know for us to know the difference between infertility and sterility. Okay, let's look now. This classified. I mean, the definition is when a couple, it means husband and wife, they are unable to conceive. Now, look at this word conceive. This is the name. Conceive means to be pregnant. So to be use the word term to be more scientific, you say conceive. Conceive means already pregnant. Okay, the person has conceived. That means she's already pregnant. Okay, so unable to conceive, that means unable to be pregnant. Okay, let's look at cases, causes. What can cause, sometimes the problem can be from the father, that means the male, or it can be from the mother. Okay, so let's look at what are the causes of male impotency. Okay, for example, first thing is quite common there, erectile dysfunction, the short term is ED, erectile dysfunction. So erectile means referring to the ability of the penis to be erect. Okay, so let's look at this. This is a cross section of penis. Okay, of course it's the diagram. All right, so you can see flaccid. The first one is this is flaccid penis. That means it's not hard, right? During sexual intercourse or during copulation, the blood supply does not go into the penis sufficiently, so you find that it is not erect. Okay, so cross section. So this you call it this tissues here. There's a lot of blood vessels here. Okay, so the blood does not get enough supply of blood to go into this area, so it does not become erect. Okay, so it's unable to be put into the female vagina. And this is on the other hand, this is a normal condition where you have an erect penis during copulation, where you have this tissues here, or the tissues here are engorged with a lot of blood vessels. Okay, so it becomes hardened and is easily to be can be put into the female vagina. Okay, so this is erectile dysfunction. So, and the way to cure this, a lot of people go for this medication. I'm sure you've heard of Viagra. Viagra is the answer to erectile dysfunction, so that it allows more blood supply to go to the penis, so that it will achieve an erection maybe longer time. Okay, so that they are adequately able to do the job lah. Okay, of having the penis put into the woman for insemination. Okay, so let's go to the next one. Another cause of female impotency, it could be low sperm count. So low sperm count, what do you mean by low sperm count? Look at this diagram shown under the microscope. If you were to look at the sample of sperm, let's say the one on the left hand side is normal sperm count. You should have this amount of density. That means in don't know how many milliliters, all right, you should have how many billion or how many millions of sperms. This is normal sperm count. But for low sperm count, you can see that it's much less. The density of the sperm is less. This can be due to medication. It can be due to the health of the man, or the man could be taking drugs. That could affect the formation of sperm, or the amount of sperm and the healthy sperm that is formed. Some could also not be moving. Some sperms are already dead. Okay, or the number will be very, very little. So this is low sperm count. Okay, it can be due to drugs, can be due to the health lifestyle, it can be due to cigarette, all right, maybe heavy smoker, or it could be due to alcohol, it could be due to intoxication of medication. So there are many examples, many things that can cause it to happen. Okay, next one, hormonal imbalance. Yeah, okay, so maybe lack of testosterone. It also could be lack of LH or FSH from the pituitary gland that can affect the formation of sperms. All right, so this can be treated with hormonal injection. Okay, next, low quality sperm. All right, just now we said low sperm count. That means very few sperm, but this is the quality of the sperm. You can have the normal amount, but maybe the quality is not good. Okay, so or it could be abnormal. So what do you mean by abnormal? The sperms could be very weird. They are not normal. Okay, how are not abnormal do you mean? I'll show you some examples. You see that some sperms, you could have two heads and one tail. Look at this one. This is abnormal. Two heads, all right, one tail. Or you could have one head and two tails, right? This is abnormal. This is a crooked bent neck, the mitochondria, the neck here, the mid piece here. Okay, it could be asymmetrical, it could be tapered, the head is like this, or the sperm head, right? There are many cases of what you call abnormal sperms. So these are not viable. Not viable means they are not going to be considered healthy ones that can do the job of fertilizing the ovum. Okay, so unhealthy sperm or abnormal sperms. And another one will be, let me just cancel this off. Okay, yeah. And next one is one more. Testes do not produce sperm. Yeah, this has to do with the hormone, right? The hormone production, testosterone, the LH, FSH, and so on. It's something to do with the hormonal problem that can be treated with injection. Okay, so this is the male impotency. Let's look at the female impotency. The problem can also be due to the female or the wife or the mother, wife, all right? Blocked fallopian tube. This is one of the many what they call the cases of causes of female impotency or sterility. So you can see here, fallopian tubes are the tubes that transfer the ovum that has already been released from the ovary, and it goes down. Okay, and fallopian tube is where fertilization should happen. The sperm will swim up. But because of blockages, again, the blockages in the tube, all right, sometimes it's very narrow, sometimes there could be some growth inside there. So it cannot allow the sperm to move up, and the ovum cannot descend or move down. So that is a blocked fallopian tube. Okay, next will be growth in uterus. Sometimes the uterus can have growth. The abnormal things that growth there, these are what they call growth, right? Tissues. Like, this is like what? It could be fibroids. Okay, fibroids at the uterus. It could be inside. It could be on the way called the muscle layer. It can be up wherever, right? It's on the uterus. It can affect implantation. Okay, implantation could be not carried out properly, so the baby, the fetus, the uterus or the zygote could be what do you call, aborted. Okay, so you have growth in uterus. Then you have hormone imbalance, same thing, that it could be lack of LH, FSH, and also your estrogen and progesterone for the female. Normal uterus, sometimes the uterus, the shape of the uterus, look at the normal one on the left hand side. Then you have some that are uterus shape is split. You have different asymmetrical shape, all right? So that affects implantation. So implantation cannot happen. And there's a septate, there's something, a septum separating inside your the uterus. So these are the problems with the uterus. Okay, abnormal uterus. That could also affect the ability to have children. One more, or maybe the ovaries do not produce secondary oocyte, means lack of FSH. Okay, and also usually lack of FSH and also estrogen. Okay, so these are the causes of female impotency. Okay, now let's look at treatment for impotency or ways to overcome. Okay, how are the ways to overcome this problem? So we just had probably looked at the sterility problem. What are the causes for male and female? Now, how do we overcome this problem? How do we help couples who are childless to try to plan for a baby or try to have a baby, try to conceive, children? Okay, so you can, if it's a hormonal imbalance, it can be treated with hormonal therapy. So you can inject synthetic hormones. Okay, we have synthetic hormones for the male hormone and the female hormone. Okay. Next, blocked fallopian tubes or blocked sperm ducts can be treated via surgery. Okay, so I just want to zoom in here. You want to show you this thing called laparoscope. Look at this one. This is operating laparoscope. This is where the doctor can, I can write it, zoom already. So the doctor looks into this eyepiece and it can actually see what's happening inside. Okay, then it can do a minor surgery here actually for women it's not a minor, it's quite a more major. Vasectomy is a minor one when they tie the fallopian tubes. That is for to not to have impotency. That is to if they have too many children, they want to sterility, they want to be sterile. Okay, they just tie the seminal the what they call the tube, all right, the sperm duct. But for here, for women, all right, what you do is you can remove the blockage, all right. You can have surgery done here. Okay, this is called a laparoscope, which it's inserted into the abdomen or any part of the body to be able to see. There's a small camera there, so the doctor can able to see what he's doing, and he can maneuver the equipment, okay, to carry out the surgery. All right, okay. And one more here, in vitro fertilization, I'm going to explain in further detail on IVF for women who have blocked fallopian tubes. So the ovum cannot come out because it's blocked. So what they can do is they take out the ovum from the ovary there, and they put it onto a apparatus that is outside the body, and it makes the husband's sperm. So the fertilization happens outside the body, not in the woman's body. So that is what you call in vitro fertilization. Okay, I'll go into that further afterwards. Okay, let's look at sperm bank. Okay, what is the role of sperm bank? Why do we have sperm bank? Okay, now we may not have, I'm not sure whether we have it in Malaysia here, right? So let's say, what is a sperm bank? It's a special lab where they store sperms. Okay, it could be donor sperms, healthy males who want to donate sperms, right? They are put in liquid nitrogen at a temperature of negative 196 degrees Celsius. Very cold, it's like frozen. Okay, and it can be kept indefinitely. It doesn't get spoiled because it's frozen. Okay, and once you need to use it, you have to thaw it or defrost it, and it can be used. Okay, so who would need a sperm bank? All right, usually some people who want to preserve their sperm for later use also can. So let's say at the moment, let's say the husband, all right, is having terminal illness, having disease, and he knows he's going to die soon. Okay, but he's still young, healthy, all right, but he has healthy, not in the sense that healthy in terms that sperms are healthy, but probably he has a terminal disease. He has got cancer and all that. So they may want to freeze the sperm, collect the sperm and freeze it, so that later the wife can carry his children. Okay, now, so sperms from the donors or from the husband, they're collected, they are frozen, and they're kept in the sperm bank. Okay, so before, if you are just a donor, they have to screen your health lah. They want to make sure that the male is a healthy male. You do not have genetic problems, right? Because if the man has genetic problems, definitely the sperm will carry the genes, the problematic genes. Okay, that will be carried on to the next generation. That will affect the child. Okay, so it has to be screened. The health condition of the donor has to be screened by the doctors. They have to check, okay, whether this person is certified healthy. Okay, so now, but there are moral issues concerning the use of sperm bank. So sometimes if a man has donated his sperms, right, okay, and to be used by another couple, a couple who cannot have father, the husband is not sperm is not cannot be used, so you just take a donor. So maybe the issues are related to the identity of the father. The father who donated the sperm, can he be called the rightful father or not of the baby? Or is it the rightful father has to be the husband and wife who wanted to use the sperm? Okay, so these are the moral issues. So these things are different countries will have different laws governing this kind of issues when it comes about sperms and all that, the use of sperms. And sometimes issues related to preferred criteria of the donor. Sometimes you want to select, you want to know the background of this donor, whether he's got a university degree, okay, whether maybe that's related to whether how smart the person is. And then if the person is smart, that means the children that the sperm that he carries may have the intelligent sperm. So maybe you want to choose whether, all right, this person has the level of education, the race, probably you want a particular race, or you do not want other races, maybe religion. So in terms of, this is the criteria that it could be also a moral issue because people say that, this is, having children is God-given, okay? You shouldn't have the right to choose, right? So this is a moral issue about IVF and all that, whether you of artificial technology for all this reproduction, whether you want to have designer children. Do you want to choose what kind of genetic properties the baby should have, or you should just accept it as God's gift to you? Okay, so these are moral issues. Okay, next. Now, another thing for treatment of impotency. All right, this is for it's called artificial insemination. That means we call it artificially the sperm is put inside the woman's body. Maybe because cannot have normal sex. All right. Now this is called IUI, intrauterine insemination. Intrauterine insemination is the same thing as called artificial insemination. The sperm is put inside the woman's uterus or the fallopian of uterus, so that it swims up. There is no sex involved. There is no copulation. Okay, so the instrument is used to inject semen. Semen means including the sperm and the liquid into the uterus of the female during her ovulation. So normally they have to time carefully. When is she having her day 14? So when it's day 14, registered the day 14 there, then you know. Okay, day 14, this is the best time to have this technology, to have this procedure. So the sperm will be put inside, the semen put inside here. So no need to have any copulation. So probably this is also used for surrogate mother. I'll go into that later. So surrogate mother is a woman who uses her ovum to carry another person's baby. That means carry baby for somebody else. Okay, so she doesn't need to have sex with the father lah. All right, just the sperm can be inserted into her uterus. Okay, so here is coming back to IUI. No copulation or no sexual intercourse is involved. So it will be used usually when if the man's sperm is unable to function, okay, or maybe the sperm count is low. That means the sperm count, the good sperms are very little. So what they do is they will take the sperm, they collect the sperm and they wash. Now the term called wash is not wash with water. Wash means that they concentrate, they choose the good ones and they concentrate it. That means the man's sperm may, of course, be a lot. So they take out, choose the good ones, and then they concentrate it and then they put it in to increase the chances of fertilization. Okay, so the sperms of men with low sperm count are collected over a period of time to increase the concentration of sperm. And then when it's concentrated, that means the chance of fertilization is much higher. Okay, it also enables a wife whose husband had passed away to conceive. So before it passed away, collect the sperm first, freeze it, okay, so that the woman can decide to use the sperm later, even after the man has passed away. Okay, so put it in a sperm bank. Okay, so this is IUI or artificial insemination. Okay, next one. One more. Okay, two more. Okay. IVF. So I want to introduce this IVF to you. Please be ready to answer essay questions because all these are new technologies. Not to say very new but we're always going for questions like K-BAT, that kind of thing. You must keep in touch with all these technologies, and you may be faced with these kind of questions in your essay. So be prepared to write this procedure. Okay, IVF is called in vitro fertilization. What does it mean by in vitro? It's actually a Latin word. Okay, in vitro means in glass. Okay, vitro is glass actually in Latin. Vitro, glass. So it means that the fertilization is done outside the body. Why? Because the fertilization is done in glass, and the glass means what? It could mean the test tube. It could also mean the petri dish. So it's done outside the body. Okay, and it is used if the fallopian tubes are blocked or damaged. That means sperm cannot move up to the fallopian tube, so they take the ovum out, and the sperm will be added together with the ovum outside the body. Okay, let's look at the stages. First of all, the woman has to be given injection or given medication so that to stimulate follicle growth. Usually, these women, they are not able to produce viable ovums or their period cycle is very, very, they call the menstrual cycle is very irregular. Okay, so they need to have medication. So you stimulate the follicle growth by giving FSH, okay, follicle stimulating hormone. And then they time it properly when the ovulation will occur. Okay, before that, they don't let the ovulation occur. In fact, they take out the oocyte. So the oocyte is secondary oocyte. That means it's already mature. Okay, the aspiration means take out, suck it out, suck out the oocyte inside the ovum, while it's still inside the ovum. Then take it out and put into a device, into a container, usually a test tube or what they call a petri dish, and mix it with the sperm. So you can see here, mix with the sperm. Okay, here. Okay, mix with the sperm here. All right. So take out the oocyte, first of all, stimulate the follicle growth. After that, in vitro fertilization occurs outside the body. Then after that, it's going to start mitosis. You're going to get embryo. Now, you can't leave the embryo out there because it does not have nutrient. You cannot feed it. It doesn't have enough nutrient to grow into a baby. So what happens is it will be inserted back into the uterus for the mother to carry. That means implantation to occur. Okay, so you do not expect to see the baby on the plate there, all right? Our technology is not that advanced. We are not able to feed it for 9 months. You need to have the woman's uterus carry the ovum. Carry the embryo. Okay, so it will be born, it will be carried to full term 9 months inside the embryo, inside the uterus, and be born after that. Okay, so this is the basic thing. Okay, so here again, you see ovarian hyperstimulation. You have to take medication first, then retrieve the oocyte, transvaginal to take through the vagina. So one catheter, one device will be inserted through the vagina to take out the ovum or oocyte. Then sperm preparation, the sperm taken out from the man. Okay, so he has to maybe masturbate or whatever lah, to take out the sperm, and then they are mixed together and then incubated at a certain warm body temperature. Then you get the embryo culture. After that, the embryo is transferred into the uterus for implantation and see what happens. Now, if it fails, all right, they have to repeat again. Okay, and usually they will put in more than one. Okay, so first of all, after the ovarian hyperstimulation, laparoscope, that's the device I told you, the doctor can see through, right? And a suction needle is put through the wall of the abdomen or sometimes through the vagina or through the abdomen to remove the ova. So you see the word ova, that means they remove more than one. Why more than one? Do you want twins? Actually, they usually do more than one because they want to make sure the risk of this being successful is higher. If you just take out one, that ovum could be faulty. If it's all faulty, then you've already wasted all your efforts. Okay, so they take out usually more than one. And no problem having two because she would have already had this ovarian hyperstimulation. That means she would have already taken medication. That means definitely there will be more than one. Okay, so they take more than one. Then after that, the sperm of the husband is mixed in a petri dish to allow the fertilization. So it's incubated for a few hours that the fertilization take place. After that, it will develop into embryo, and then you take the embryo after 2 to 4 days and put it into the uterus. So usually it's about a few embryos. Yeah, so you see sometimes you can have multiple pregnancies. So usually for IVF, you could have 2, you could have 3. Okay, usually they probably take 2 or 3 lah. So if you're lucky, you get 1. If you're not, if you're even luckier still, you get all the 3 embryos that is put inside. They get to be viable. You can have multiple pregnancy. You can have 3 triplets. So that is the risk you have to take if you do IVF, because they would not do only one. If you do only one, if it fails, then habis lah. All right, you have to start all over again, and you got to pay. This is very expensive procedure. It costs you 5 figure. That means more than 10,000 for you to undergo this in vitro fertilization. Okay. Right, and the baby is born through this technique. Now, the baby that's born, usually you have the nickname for it. Do you know what's the nickname for it? Anyone? What kind of nickname you give for this baby who are born? I just want to see how many are following me. I think I only got 9 people here. Okay, do you know what kind of baby we call this? Oh, I think I'm blocking it. I'm blocking this one. Let me just put it this way so you can see. So the baby that's born through this technique is known as what? Anybody knows? You have a very general name for this baby that's born inside all these devices, all these apparatus called what? I think you know, right? I don't know whether you're there, but anyway, okay, it's called what? Test tube baby. I'm sure you've heard of it. Okay, test tube baby. All right. Okay, so it just basically means the baby was grown or not grown, fertilized outside the body, but it grows inside the mother's womb. It has to be put back inside. Okay, now let's look at the last concept, which is called surrogate mother, or we call this phenomenon is known as surrogacy. Surrogacy is a phenomenon where a woman carries the baby for another woman. So the woman doesn't carry it because of maybe she's not able to carry, maybe uterus got problem, or maybe she doesn't want to carry the baby. So in that case, you can get someone to do it for you. So this is another complicated thing. Certain countries allow, certain countries do not allow. There are laws governing this. Okay, sometimes they do not allow if you pay. If there's payment involved, this is against the crime. Just like you cannot sell blood. Okay, selling blood for money is against the law. Selling your organs, donating your kidney, donating your liver because of money, when money is involved, is against the law. But if you do it because of you want to help the person, maybe it's a family member, then they do not question that, because family member usually is because of you are purely wanting to help person. It is sincere. Okay, it is not for monetary gain. Okay, so surrogacy is not for every country. I do not believe in Malaysia it is not legal and it's not allowed. Okay, so a woman who is willing to carry, a surrogate mother is a woman who is willing to carry a baby to full term on behalf of a woman who cannot conceive. She cannot conceive. Maybe she doesn't want to give birth. Possible. Maybe is so scared of the pain, scared of childbirth, we don't know lah. Or she cannot because of abnormalities of the uterus. There's a problem. She's fertile. She's infertile. She's sterile. Let's say. Okay. So now there are two types of surrogacy. One is called traditional. One is called gestational. What does it mean? Traditional is the surrogate mother uses her own egg. She uses her own egg. That means the egg is not taken out of her body. She uses her own egg. Maybe the couple, the woman cannot have eggs lah. All right, she doesn't produce eggs. So they take the sperm from the husband, and it is artificially put inside. Just now I told you that one of the artificial insemination, or IUI, intrauterine insemination. So she doesn't have, the surrogate mother does not have to have sex with the father or the husband. Just put the sperm inside the surrogate mother's body. Okay, that's it, simple, and let nature does its own carry its own. Carry its own course lah. The sperm will swim up and fertilize the ovum in the fallopian tube. That is called traditional surrogacy. The intended parents are the parents who want the pregnancy. This is intended. This is the surrogate mother, the mother who's carrying. This is called the intended parent, the parent who want the pregnancy, want the baby. The other type is called gestational. Gestational is the mother who wants to have the baby donates her own egg. That means doesn't use the surrogate mother's egg. Okay, the egg is taken up from the mother of the wife, and the sperm is taken up from the husband, right? And it could be fertilized outside the body, and it can be put into it just like the IVF. Okay, so it's just borrowing the womb, borrowing the uterus only. She doesn't use any of her eggs. That is called gestational. All right, so there are two types. So the sperm can be from the husband. So the husband is, if he's able to have to produce sperm, or if he's not able to produce the sperm can be can be obtained from the sperm bank. Just take any sperm lah. That means you have a storage of sperm there. So it's your luck lah who you get your sperm from lah. That means it will not be the genes of the father lah. It'll be genes of somebody else lah. Okay. And if the wife cannot produce ovum, can take the surrogate mother's ovum, or if she can produce her own ovum, she uses her own sperm. Uses her own ovum. Okay, so it's more of her own genetic lah. All right, okay. Jensen, correct. Test tube baby. Yes, correct. Test tube baby. All right. Okay, I saw your response late. Sorry. Yes. So either the sperms use IUI, that means the intrauterine insemination, put the sperm into the woman's body artificially. No need to have any sex. Okay. Or it could be an embryo. That means take out the egg from the mother, take out the sperm from the father, let it fertilize outside the body. Then you put it through IVF method. Okay, it's transferred to the uterus of the surrogate mother. So either way, the surrogate will be carrying the baby. Okay, right. So the surrogate mother then conceives means become pregnant. And the fetus develops in the uterus until birth, until born, all right, and the baby will be handed to the couple. Usually, this is how the case it's like an agreement. They have to sign something, because there are many cases of the surrogate mother, after giving birth, they refuse to hand over the baby because they maybe develop attachment. She develops attachment to the baby. Okay, imagine the baby growing inside the womb there for 9 months. You develop kind of feeling to the baby, and you find the baby so cute and so cuddly and so pretty and all that. So sometimes the mother just cannot let go, right? of course, you need to, before that, they have to sign and all that. So certain countries, not every country will practice this. Okay, in Malaysia, it's not allowed. So there are moral, like I said, there are moral and ethical issues. All right, number one is surrogate mother will develop attachment to the baby. The mother refuses to give the baby. And also, issue of legal parentage. There's a laws, a different country will say that who is the legal parent now? Let's say the surrogate mother has given birth to the baby, and next time the baby, this baby actually, who is the mother legally in terms of in the eyes of the law? Is it the mother who gives birth to the baby considered the real mother, or is it the intended parents? Intended parents is the parents who want to have the baby, but she didn't carry the baby. So certain countries have different laws. Some laws recognize the surrogate mother as the legal mother. Some laws recognize the intended mother or the intended parent, okay, as the legal mother. So you see, it's very complicated, all these things. That's why Malaysia, we don't allow this. All right, okay. So this is what I want to present my class to you. All right, this is on the reproduction, all this health issues, and also how to overcome all that. So this is the lesson for today. Okay, at the moment, I think I do not see any questions. All right, if you do come across any questions, please do feel free to either put in the comments in the video, or you can telegram me. All right, okay, so I hope to see you in my next lesson, where I will finish off 15.7, which is what do you call that, the last part, growth, health, growth in not humans. We're talking about insects, the growth rate, the growth curve in insects and also humans. Okay, so I'll see you in my next lesson. So happy holidays, and today is Christmas, so Merry Christmas to all, and hope you have a nice weekend and happy holidays, right? And enjoy your holidays while you still can. Luckily, we have another extra week. Okay, so I will see you next week, next Saturday. Okay, thank you, and hope to see you. All right, okay, bye-bye. Ex Potato, thank you for joining my class. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Jen Xuan. Okay, have a nice week. Yeah, bye-bye.